Family Guy is back for season 23, and this time they're taking on Top Gun. That means high-speed dogfights, hits at Tom Cruise, and of course, a very, very homoerotic game of volleyball. The show's movie parody episodes can be really hit or miss, but instead of cramming in 3 different stories into one episode, this time it's all about just 2 Top Gun films. So is it another crash and burn, or did it take our breath away?
Boo!
Sorry. So the episode opens with Peter as Maverick and Joe as Goose. They go to a bar, and this is where we meet Stewie as Iceman.
Come on, Slider, let's get some air. Hot in here, right?
Now, I don't care how many times Family Guy does it, but whenever I see Rupert's teddy bear head on a human muscular body, I can't help but laugh. And soon Peter sees Lois as Charlie, and he instantly puts a bet on that he can get her into bed, and he does this by running in the other Navy boys for a bit of karaoke.
80 visibly aroused servicemen are trying to pressure me into a sexual relationship.
But the next day, Peter is shocked to find out that Lois is the top instructor of Top Gun.
Look, Mav, it's your girlfriend.
Stop talking to me, Goose.
This leads into some really funny moments, like with Peter pretending that he's seen and done all of these amazing things.
I also flew over 1,000,000 miles an hour once.
What? When?
Also classified.
Next up, we get this iconic volleyball scene, and my god, this had me and James rolling with laughter. Stewie's reaction is absolutely priceless. And when their volleyball gets kicked into the ocean, rather than, just swimming in to get it, Peter decides to take his fighter jet out. And when that obviously doesn't work, they then launch Operation Volleyball and blast it out of the water.
Yeah, thanks, taxpayers. Game on.
The whole episode is packed with funny moments, and I obviously can't show them all for copyright reasons, but here's one that really got me.
If I cared about rules, I wouldn't be lying in this bed dry crusted to your bed sheets.
That's why I gave you the wet wipe.
There's also this recurring joke about Lois being left out of the next movie.
And you for sure won't be left out of the second movie.
What?
Now, if you've seen Top Gun Maverick, you may know that both Kelly McGillis and Meg Ryan were conveniently left out. And this gag actually pays off towards the end of the episode. But first off, we have to watch Goose being killed off. While flying, Peter starts messing with the radio station, which causes the engines to blow, and when they eject, Goose gets crushed by the canopy. Peter then has to break the news to Goose's family.
We were more than 5 miles out, so I could have done anything I wanted with his body, but I didn't.
And of course, this joke comes back later on. Honestly, the running gags in this episode really do land. But what doesn't land for me is the next bit, where Peter takes some time off to sulk and mourn throughout various Tom Cruise movies. I get what they were going for, but the jokes just didn't hit. Honestly, I prefer the subtle references, like with Peter sliding into the room to tell Rooster his dad had died, referencing Risky Business. I just feel like it's just better generally when the Cruisisms were fitted into the existing story, rather than some kind of side montage. All the montage really seemed to do here was build up to Brian's joke here.
Who's Goose? What? Goose? The guy you just spent 35 years mourning.
Yeah, I don't really think the joke was worth all that. So now we're fast forwarded 30 years, and now we're in Top Gun Maverick.
This is Top Gun Maverick. It's completely different and exactly the same.
Now before watching, I had a mental checklist of obvious jokes that I knew the writers would make here. One was Scientology, and the other was Cruise being short. And yeah, they do both.
Then we'll need to take back your Navy-issued lifts that make you everyone else's height.
Thankfully though, they didn't go too overboard. I guess they already ran that bit into the ground with the tiny Tom Cruise episode. Like I mentioned at the start, Family Guy usually does a couple of these movie anthology episodes every season, and yeah, I haven't loved most of them. But by focusing solely on Top Gun, it allows the story to breathe and it doesn't feel rushed. It feels a bit similar to that Star Wars parody. And speaking of Star Wars, Disney, when are we gonna get those prequel parodies? Personally, I think a sequel trilogy spoof would be absolutely gold. But let's be real here, there is absolutely no way Disney would ever let them roast those movies. But moving on from Disney being killjoys, this episode kind of reminded me of when The Simpsons parodied the 2 It movies in their Treehouse of Horror offshoot titled Not It. And I kind of prefer this method of focusing on a single franchise instead of multiple movies. It really gives them time to have some fun with the callbacks and the references instead of jumping from one parody to the other. Anyway, back to the episode, and Brian informs Peter that Goose's son Rooster is now in the academy. Now here, Rooster is played by Chris, and I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have the giant chicken play this role, simply because, well, you've got the name pun. But then again, I don't think that little moustache would have looked right on a chicken, and we all know that we can't have Goose's son without a little moustache. Anywho, now an instructor, Peter briefs the team on their mission, and the creators here call out something a lot of people have said about Top Gun Maverick, in that it blatantly rips off Star Wars.
People can fly low and shoot a small thing without it being a Star Wars.
Yeah, but the text on the screen even says womp rat size target.
And Chris's line right here had me cracking up.
Why'd you kill my dad?
No more questions.
Feeling conflicted about taking Chris on the mission, Peter goes to see his old friend Ice. And just like in the movie, Stewie communicates via a computer. And my god, this next scene had me howling.
I'm 100% totally fine. I've never felt better in my life.
Oh, he died.
So the next day, Peter and Chris go out to fly together, but just after completing their mission, their jets are shot down.
Oh no, we lost them.
They get captured and are taken to a military base, and they come face to face with some very familiar characters.
We were important parts of that first movie, and you just tossed all the women aside.
This was a genuinely great twist that I didn't see coming, and they were plausible villains that we could actually empathize with. This is because ageism in Hollywood, especially against women, is a huge thing that has been present for decades. And when Top Gun Maverick was announced, many speculated if Kelly McGillis was going to reprise her role as Charlie Blackwood. But when asked if the producers had asked her, she said they did not, nor did I think they would ever. I mean, I'm old and I'm fat and I look age appropriate for what my age is. And that is not what the whole scene is about. Tom Cruise films specifically have faced criticism for the age gap between him and his recent love interests, and how they're only growing larger as his career progresses. But at least with Top Gun Maverick, it is a bit more successful in this area, with Connolly only being 9 years his junior. Although that would only make her 16 in the original film, which, yeah, is still a bit weird. But yes, this isn't a Top Gun deep dive, so let's get back to Family Guy. So Peter manages to escape by promising to get some Scientology e-meters to align their thetans.
I can't believe they fell for that crap.
Oh yeah, such crap. Definitely not something I've left two families over.
They quickly use the opportunity to escape and steal a jet, and with the women hot on their tail, they are rescued by a very much now alive Stewie, which is then followed by...
I'm as healthy as I've ever...
Oh, he died again.
The episode wraps up with Peter breaking the fourth wall and addressing the audience, followed by a tiny Tom Cruise cameo. And honestly, this ending felt a bit unnecessary because it would have been way funnier if they had just ended it with Stewie dying again. The last scene just felt tacked on, like they didn't really have the confidence to trust the episode to end just there. And they should have done, because it was great. I judge Family Guy on how much it makes me laugh, and this one had me grinning the whole way through. There were just so many jokes here, and I didn't even mention all of them. But honestly, one of the best episodes I've seen in ages, so overall I'm giving this 5 out of 5 volleyballs. But have you seen this episode, and what did you think of this episode, and how many volleyballs would you give it? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.